What's up, everybody? My name is Godzi, and welcome back to some more Umineko When They Cry Questions Arc. Last episode, we finished off Chapter 3 by doing the tea parties, in which Lambda Delta makes rape faces and Ange jumps off a building. Also, I mentioned back when Ange was first introduced, that I don't exactly know how you're supposed to pronounce it. Most of the names in this are pretty easy to pronounce. Eva, Rudolph, Battler, Jessica, names like that, super easy. Even if I've never even heard of anybody who's had names like that before. Like, I've never met somebody named Kraus, and I've never met somebody named Battler. Granted, I've never even met someone named George, but at least it's easy to pronounce. I was told that Ange is supposed to be pronounced more like Angie, which I probably should have guessed that. Ange just sounds more correct given how it's spelt, but I'm gonna try to pronounce it as Angie from now on. But expect that a few times I'll slip back into saying Ange. It's just a habit at this point, so whatever. We're at the home stretch of the game now. All we have left is Episode 4, Alliance of the Golden Witch. So, let's just begin, men and 0.5 women who might be watching my channel. The story is very... yeah, we know. It's fictional. Yada yada. I wonder if the opening for this is going to be the same. Because if you're new here, I use the PC openings because the game told me. The PS3... oh, we're already on the first set. Okay. The PS3 openings, according to this game, have some spoilers. So I'm just using the less spoilerific ones. Granted, I've already seen the anime for Questions Arc, and I forgot. Oh wait, no, I'm already on 16. Whatever, we're in the airport. This is the first time we're seeing the airport with the patch. Hello, Hideyoshi. You alright, Battler? I wonder if it still has... yeah, they haven't put Ange in here yet. That's interesting. And this... oh, we have nobody. What if they just pull a huge twist on us and don't include any of the witch stuff for this arc, and it's just all real stuff? That'd be interesting. We're already on the ground, and you can't fall any further than that. Fall! Jesus Christ, I'm getting a huge sense of deja vu. It feels like we go through... well, obviously we go through this shit every episode. In the lobby of the Najima airport, Maria dashed around in excitement. Battler's uproar on the plane must have been hilarious. Hey, Maria, cut that out. I'm sorry, Battler. Please don't take it badly. What a pathetic guy you are. Thanks. Even with that huge body, you still can't handle vehicles. Bitch, I'm afraid of spiders and I'm 5'10". Ah, shut up. All humans have one or two things they can't handle. I also can't handle people holding sharp objects near me. It's kind of scary. Even if I can trust them, my mom could be holding a knife cutting tomatoes and I'll be like, I'm gonna hide in my room until you're done cutting the tomatoes. Battler, why don't you come with your aunt on an overseas trip sometime soon? Promise I won't shoot you through the heart. How about Europe? I'm sure you could manage a half-day trip on a plane. Well, Eva's probably not gonna kill anyone this time, but whatever. Stop it, Mother. Battler's dislike for vehicles is probably genetic. Oh, you mean Asumu? For some reason, she just couldn't handle vehicles. Pretty much anything other than a bicycle or a car. Whenever we tried to go far away, that woman was so annoying with the not this, not that. I'm scared, fall, gya, gya. Children tend to learn that things their parents can't handle are dangerous. I'm sure Battler saw Asumu doing something like that and learned that vehicles are scary. Are we ever gonna meet Asumu? Or was it already implied that she's dead? Who knows. So it's Asumu's genes then, is it? Who knows? Those would be some pretty annoying genes. That's enough talking about Asumu. Right now, you're the one who's here, right? Actually, we might actually meet her because we did like do a time skip backwards into like the 60s or something when Eva and Kraus were like 18-ish, right? You're right, sorry. Hey, the cars are here! Exactly 3 of them! Get in, get in!
Fall, fall! Where's the parachute? Where's the parachute? Oh!
Why, you little... Hold on, stop right there! I'll sentence you to the little girl tickle punishment! That's... okay. Being in such high spirits is such a wonderful thing. Without Battler and Maria, the atmosphere in that plane would have been pretty grim. Thanks. I'll assume you mean that literally. Hey brats, the taxis are here. You can play around later. I didn't know they took taxis.
Oh, taxi, taxi! I'm getting in first!
Hey, Maria and you too, Battler, stop fooling around. You'll bump into someone. The tone of Aunt Rosa's voice grew a little frightening. Well, I certainly didn't portray that. When even Battler realized they were fooling around a bit too much, just as expected, he bumped into someone. Oh, sorry. Oh, I thought he bumped into George, okay. Battler, you guys are going in that car. You're keeping them waiting. After George urged him to hurry on, Battler apologized to the person he had bumped into, and ran up to his parents, who were telling him to come quickly. With a clunking sound, the doors on the 3 taxis were shut one after another and they departed for the harbor. I'm not sure why I'm sniffing so much. I mean, it's early December. I don't get sick until January. As their taxis dashed away, the entire world grew suddenly dull and slowed to a halt. Beatrice disappears and is like, "So, Ushiromiya Battler, how do you feel about this? Oh, I can't understand it. They got in taxis. How can that be explained with humans and tricks?" Voices, the wind, and even sound. All of it stopped, and all the people who were trying to move froze like the instant someone takes a photo. Coming to a halt, it's the beginning of Kingdom Hearts 2 all over again. Where's Naminé? Where's Diz? Where's Axel? People and machines and clock hands, even the dust dancing in the wind, were frozen. Frozen. Some people who were walking froze with one leg still in the air. Scraps of paper dancing in the wind were pinned in midair, frozen in place. Then among the shadows standing still in this unmoving world, a single one stirred. Hi, Ange. Angie, sorry. It was a girl. The girl Battler had just bumped into. Oh. Though she had moved, it was a truly subtle thing. Her gaze dropped, her shoulders lowered a minuscule amount, and she sighed. That was all. In a normal world, that probably wouldn't even be taken as movement. But in this still world, it looked very out of place. Then something else moved. It was a black cat wandering around the shadows near the taxi rank. It came up right behind the girl, and leisurely changed its form into that of a human. Who? Oh. Wow, you're actually participating in the real chapters this time. Shit, I forgot she actually does have a cat tail, doesn't she? This was no cat. It was a witch. Of course, the girl was also a witch. As the witch stood still, her gaze still downwards, she muttered. I can't stop everyone from going to Rokenjima, can I? You cannot. On October 4th, 1986, you are not here. If I were, would stopping everyone really have been possible? Well, I can't imagine what a 6-year-old girl could do to make them turn back. Still, that's right. If you were in this place, the probability wouldn't have been 0. Whenever there's a probability greater than 0, I can seek out a miracle. If I hadn't been sick, and they hadn't left me behind... With her head facing downwards, the witch tightened her fists. They were trembling very slightly. You were sick in bed starting October 3rd, 1986. And Beato's game board is sealed off starting October 4th. You were not given the chance to avoid getting sick. In other words, it would normally be absolutely impossible for you to enter her game board. Thanks for being patronizing. I know that. I know that just seeing father, mother, and brother healthy like this, even that alone, is a spectacular miracle. Angie had tried to stand in the way of her family, attempting to stop them from leaving the airport and heading towards Rokenjima. However, it was impossible for her to exist in October 4th, 1986, so she couldn't do it. Even though her brother had only bumped into her and apologized, even though he hadn't realized she was his own little sister, it had been such a miracle that she could cry. Ange must have looked a lot different when she was younger if they can't recognize the similarity. Sorry about the sarcasm. I won't waste the miracle you've given me. Granted, she's probably, what, like 17, 18 in this? So if she's 6 and... yeah, she's 18 then. I'm glad to hear it. Come, let us go with them. To Rokenjima. All of the pieces are already gathered. The curtain will open on the 4th game. By this time, Beato and Battler will already be seated. Oh, she actually can meet well, we already know that she met Battler at the end of the 3rd game. To Rokenjima. To where to where everyone's fates changed. The Rokenjima of October 4th, 1986. What happened on that day? I'll expose it. I'll learn what it is. And I'll bring them back. Well, each game is slightly different, so the one that... I'm assuming this Ange is from after the 3rd game. And the Battler that we know and love is from after the 1st game, so they've had different realities, I guess. As she stood there with her fist still clenched, she surely turned her face up to the heavens. A single teardrop from the depths of her eyes dripped down into the air. And then it dissipated, the world. And when time started moving again, the 2 witches' figures were swallowed up by a blowing gale and erased in an instant. Oh, here's the opening. Oh, this is actually a different one. Oh, this is the PS3 one? I thought I turned off PS3 ones. Well, it looks a hell of a lot better, so I'm not complaining. And it's nice to have a different opening rather than the same old one that we've had the entire series. Even though it's the same song, but new visuals are better. Hello, Virgilia, you're an asshole. I am sitting here in a chair. Eva Beatrice, why was she there? Didn't she die? Or is she gonna come back? Oh, yeah, this is a lot better. The Jesters, I guess, are gonna participate. Eva, why is she here, though? Or was this supposed to be the opening for all 4 chapters, and they just made it this one since it doesn't have any more spoilers, I guess? Yeah, I didn't see anything there that could be considered a spoiler, so maybe that was just the, opening for all 4 chapters, which that would definitely be a spoiler. That was cool. A lot better than the original one, which was just everyone sitting around, doing nothing important. Okay, the, gold room. Hello, Ronove. Good morning, milady. My, you do appear to be in a good mood. What a pleasant awakening you seem to have had. What do you mean, pleasant awakening? I was so excited I couldn't sleep a wink. After all, the curtain is rising on the fun 4th game. It seemed that she truly had been so excited that she hadn't gotten any sleep. Hold on. Now that I think about it, isn't 4 meant to be like a number of misfortune in Japan? Like, I remember I heard something like that somewhere. Similar to how, like, 13 is considered an unlucky number in, well, more Western areas. I guess it's 4 in Japan. Friday the 4th. Too bad, it's Sunday the 2nd. You got a deal. It seemed that she truly had been so excited that she hadn't gotten any sleep. Did she show absolutely no signs of lacking sleep because she was young? Or because she had the mind of a little kid? Ronove chose not to say that aloud and laughed poo-coo-coo instead. I really ran that Battler into the ground last time. Oh, the look on his face when he was like, you tricked me. That was so pathetic. I'm still mad at you. Well, less mad at you, more mad at Virgilia. Even so, is that guy still feeling down? Feeling down, you say? Well, that's right. That man's a bit too trusting for his age, isn't he? Indeed. Although you could call that his charm. Ain't it the truth? Ain't it the truth? Well, speaking of which, didn't he totally fall for that one last time? Yes, totally and splendidly. You violated the purity of one never deceived since the time of his birth, as well as his rosebud-like innocence, all to your heart's content. Even the joy of dashing across a field covered with beautiful new snow on a winter morning and trampling it completely wouldn't even begin to compare. Didn't you take Battler's innocent heart and quite thrillingly, splendidly, atrociously, mercilessly, and unculturedly go just a little too far? And you insulted him to the highest degree, enough to make one uneasy. Most people would be crushed after something like that. So much that they wouldn't want to see your face ever again. He already didn't. I know that much. I also, thought that if he was too disheartened to join us at the table, even though the fourth game is finally starting, that would be such a pain. What a pain. So I came to you, thinking that'd be better to prepare a countermeasure for that case beforehand. In that case, perhaps it really would be best to prepare such a countermeasure. I'm sad to say that your North Wind and the Sun strategy gave Battler quite a shock. So I remember Virgilia said something about that to Beatrice, like, early into the third game. So they were foreshadowing that for a long time. Huh. Oh, a shock, you say? How bad of one? Beato lowered her voice slightly, asking timidly. Ronove followed suit and lowered his voice in the same way. In truth, he has been crouching and clutching at his knees for some time now. He does that after every game. I spoke to him several times, but he did not answer. I also brought him some food, but he never even touched it. That is troublesome. Is he really feeling that down? It is only natural. After all, you thoroughly beat him down, milady. That would make most people start to distrust humans. Oh, distrust of humans? How convenient. Let him give up on humans and trust witches. Oh. Sorry, I shouldn't fool around too much. Beato had tried to joke about it, but the situation seemed to be quite serious, so that even she took the hint and hid her laughter. Is it really that serious? Should we wait just a little longer before beginning the fourth game? Lady Barncastle's guest will be arriving, so it may be best to open the fourth game quickly. However, perhaps you ought to show a little concern for Battler's feelings, milady. Concern? Show concern, you say? How should I do that? He is feeling down, so... That's right. Shall I cheer him up? When a person's heart is dark and closed off, interacting with them in a dark manner gains you nothing. Your only option is to shine with a brightness stronger than the dark. Damn it! Quit messing around! What's with this fucking jazz music? I'm a little... Is this like just some Persona battle music? I've heard the Persona 5 battle theme, and this just kind of feels reminiscent of that. I've never even played Persona 5. That's something I should play on my channel eventually. Well, I'd have to buy the game first. Hello, Beelzebub. Battler, over here. A croissant baked by Ronove would be wasted on the likes of you. Why don't I enjoy it myself? Okay, gluttony. Battler's stomach involuntarily growled at the fragrant smell of the croissant. His breakfast plate was empty, but Battler hadn't eaten any of it. The biggest glutton of the Seven Sisters of Purgatory, Beelzebub, had waited for Ronove to leave, and had then come to snatch the food away. Battler had noticed, and they'd been really noisy ever since. Even though Beelzebub only had to give it back immediately or else throw it into her own mouth right away, she intentionally ran around in circles, making fun of Battler. Give my breakfast back, damn it! If you give it back now, we'll let you off with a single flick to the forehead. But just you try eating it. What, are you gonna eat me up instead? If you think you can, just try it. I bet I'll be as sweet as honey pancakes. Gotcha. Right now, I want to eat that bread even more than your thighs. Oh! Be a good girl and give it here. Fugagigigigi. What? So, you resist until the end. Ooga 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 ooga. No way, I won't give it to you. Even the croissant wants me to eat it. Yay, yahoo! Good morning, Battler! Are you still moping so early in the morning? It's the beginning of a new day and a new game, so let's get our spirits up. What, is this the beginning of a sitcom or something? She flung the door open. I'm home! Like a marathon runner drawn on a certain caramel box. With her hands held high in an idiotic cheeriness, Beato appeared. For some reason, flags from around the world and confetti scattered about, perfectly completing this magnificent entrance. Oh god, that's a different expression from Beelzebub. Battler and Beelzebub, who had been fighting over the croissant, completely forgot about their argument, speechless. Good morning, Beatrice. I'll just be on my way now. Here, Battler, say ah. Did she just shove the croissant in his mouth? Hey, morning, Beato. Glad to see you're cheery this morning. Beato and Battler looked at each other. It seemed neither had a clue what was going on with the other. Battler? What's going on, Ronave? He looks totally fine, doesn't he? He isn't clutching his knees, and he's answering. Wait a sec, he was even in the middle of eating. Ronave? No, he was sleeping like a baby in his futon, clutching his knees. Informed him that it was time to wake up, but he just wouldn't rise. I tried to feed him, but it seems that a naughty cat wandered in and prevented that. Ah! You tricked me! Oh. You should talk. Weren't you the one who played that massive trick last time? I don't have a clue what's going on, but it looks like you got what you deserved. By the way, Ronave, nice one. Thank you very much, Battler. The two men stuck up their thumbs as though they understood each other, chuckling together. For a while, Beata was very energetic, trying to hide her embarrassment. What the hell? Don't take me so lightly. Did you really think I'd still be hiding in a corner, holding my knees? Then who was that person crying their eyes out in frustration last time? You could have gathered your tears in a jar and called it a face lotion. Shut up. That was, just because I was a little surprised by your crappy act. I might have looked a little lame, but don't think the same move will work twice. Of course not. And don't disappoint me by falling for the same move over and over again, okay? Yeah, just you watch. I'll show you that I'm a guy who gets stronger every time he's beaten down. But Beato. Yes, what? Don't do it again. Oh? Why's that? So you really are weak against a rear attack? You and I are enemies, and will certainly never join forces. I now understand that clearly. So don't you ever try to trick me about that fact again. You say that, but knowing your weakness, ow. Beato thought they were still joking around, but that tone had disappeared from Battler's expression some time ago. Beato felt as though his eyes were like the surface of black tea that had cooled down. You hear me? Don't do it again. I don't get it. I might do it again when you've forgotten, right? Don't do it again. Pierced by a strong and forceful gaze, Beato held her tongue. Maybe she was certain that Battler would break that silence with laughter. However, Battler's serious expression didn't change in the slightest. So to break that silence, Beato had no choice but to start laughing herself. Very well. You and I are worthy opponents. No matter how friendly our relationship, we'll never be anything more than a pair of enemies. If you have not mistaken this, that is enough for me. It is impressive how close she got last game, though. Like, really. That's right, I almost forgot you were my enemy for a second there. I won't embarrass myself like that again. I won't fall for your rear attack again. Never again. They're gonna become great friends, aren't they? Humph. It seems I'm not the only one who cannot wait for the fourth game. I am pleased, Battler. Come, take your seat. Yep, Just how I like it. Clever little tricks won't work anymore. Stop acting so tough. You remain in a state of surrender for the last mystery in the previous game. The mystery of Nanjo's murder. Are we really fighting that? My answer for that one's still on hold for now. But that doesn't mean that I've lost heart. I'll definitely break your red truth and show that I can deny witches. Humph. A commendable attitude. You truly are a man like a phoenix. Don't betray my expectations. With that, let us raise the curtains on the 4th game. But before that, it seems we must welcome a new guest. You remember as well, correct? That mystery girl who appeared at the very end of the last game without an invitation, ruining my fun? That person. She says she wants to join our game. I sent her an official invitation, inviting her to join this match. Ronove, summon our guest. Oh. I was wondering, who the hell's talking? There's no need. I'm already here. The voice that answered Beato's call came from the darkness in a corner of the room. Hello, Ange. When Battler turned around in surprise, he could now see that mystery girl there. My, how rude. All you had to do was greet us as soon as you arrived. I don't make a habit of talking to people before punching them. After I punch is a different story, though. Oh, and what would you say? Good night. Have a nice dream. How amusing. How truly amusing. Beato cackled and clapped her hands. But that was only Beato, and nothing rose to Battler's face except a bitter smile. You sure are a fighter. Battler and the girl's eyes met, and he shrugged his shoulders as he spoke. But the girl didn't answer, giving only a cold stare in return. You helped me out at the end of the last game. Thanks for that. I just realized something. I know this should have been pretty obvious when we were first introduced to Ange here, but they have literally the same hair color and literally the same eye color. So I find it hard to believe that they're only half-siblings. Of course that's possible, but either Battler's mom is actually Kyrie, which is doubtful, honestly, because Asumu had a miscarriage, right? No, Kyrie had a miscarriage. She would have known if she gave birth. And Kyrie knows that she gave birth to Ange. She would have known if she gave birth twice. So that's confusing then. Unless there was like some swapped at birth type deal and Asumu had a second kid and Kyrie's actual kid is somewhere else. So these two are full siblings. I don't know. It's just, they literally have the same like, look at their eyes and their hair. It's the same exact shade. I don't know. They just look like full siblings. That's it, really. You helped me out at the end of the last game. Thanks for that. I don't need your gratitude. You were just slacking off. I only told you to open your eyes. That's so true. Stop slacking off, Battler. Beato tried to laugh as though sympathizing with her, but it didn't reach the girl's ears. She did absolutely nothing except stare at Battler with ice-cold eyes. Well, it looks like someone hates me. I'm just annoyed that you aren't taking this fight seriously. Are you saying I'm not serious about this? Don't tell me that travesty earlier was you being serious. Don't take me for a fool. How long do you intend to play along with the witch's farce like this? I'm fighting Beato in my own way, and doing it seriously, of course. Seriously? Don't make me laugh. You keep on drinking tea and chatting with a witch for all eternity and call that fighting seriously? Keep the jokes to just your hairdo. Oof. Well, that's because I wasn't used to this witch's game in the beginning, and I've been through a lot of harsh stuff. Leave my do out of this. Still, I'm finally starting to see how to fight, and I'm getting the knack of doing it. If the pathetic way I've been acting makes it look like I haven't been serious to you, you're just wrong. Is that so? Of course, I know I've got to close in a lot more before I can grab Beato by the collar. But no matter how long that distance may be, it's still finite, and in each game that passes, I'm steadily closing that distance step by step. No matter how long it takes, I'll close in on that witch, and I'll definitely checkmate her. It might take 1,000 years, to use her phrase. But even so, I'll definitely win sooner or later. Why? Because I definitely won't accept losing. I definitely won't stop moving forward, closing in on her. In other words, there's just one thing I can say for sure. I will definitely win against that witch someday. That's how it is.
You really don't sound like you're in a hurry. Are you even trying to win? Even the finite can become endless if you treat it the wrong way. By now, you've become an Achilles who couldn't even outstrip a turtle. I get it, so this is why I'm needed. At this rate, there's no way you could win against the Endless Witch even after 1 billion years.
Who are you? It's not like you'll be struck by lightning if you just tell me your name. Is she too embarrassed to say? At that point, the girl fell silent, gazing straight into Battler's eyes. At first, Battler faltered under the firmness of that look, and his gaze wavered slightly, but then his eyes gradually began to be sucked into the pupils that were staring at him. Then inside those eyes, he saw a light that he'd seen sometime before. Battler was struck by how strongly they resembled the eyes of a girl who definitely couldn't be here. So she's just trying to make him recognize her, right? Even though that was completely impossible. I know it's stupid, but for some reason it feels true to me. But that can't be right. That person's supposed to still be 6 years old. You couldn't possibly be Ange, could you?
If I were to say that's right, would you believe me? I'll put it another way. If I said I am your ally, so trust me, would you believe it? Would you unconditionally trust some unknown girl you're meeting for the first time just because she looks a little like someone you know? It's because you're such a softie that you got tricked so easily in the last game and cried so bitterly. You said it yourself. That kid is 6, right? Do I look like I'm 6? If I were to claim that I'm that kid despite that, would you just swallow that story? Well, you never know with anime logic. If you say it like that, there's no way I can argue back. Sorry. That's right, I am a softie. And that should have been made clear to me after the last game. Is that what you meant when you said I wasn't being serious? Yes. You may think you're fighting against a witch, but you're just getting along with her and playing. You're just playing at fighting in a friendly game of chess. That may be a serious contest for you two, but looking at it from far away, I only see you playing around and following the rules like you're good friends.
That's harsh.
But as long as you're unable to win at this game, you won't be released from this place. That's why I came. I came to bring this game to its conclusion. You claim that you're closing in on the witch, but you're just like a hamster running around in a wheel.
Oh, one of those? Those things that run around in place night after night?
At a glance, you might think that running around in a wheel is endless. The endless witch Beatrice. It's just like you. He thinks he's fighting, but he's actually just running around in a wheel while making a fool of himself. This isn't a game. This is nothing more than a cage to shut him up in for all eternity.
Oh, you liken my endless to something like a wheel that a mouse plays in? Interesting, interesting.
Something that's endless in a certain dimension can be less than endless in a higher one. The fact that a Menger sponge has infinite surface area only matters in a world of less than 3 dimensions. In the 3-dimensional world of reality, it has 0 mass. Not only is it not endless, it doesn't even exist. What the fuck's a Menger sponge?
What an assertive woman. It seems you are worthy of being called my enemy. Who are you?
Christ, Battler. I am your ally, and an enemy of witches. Of course, you don't have to believe it. No one can prove that I really am your ally. On the contrary, it's more desirable that you keep your guard up strongly enough to find me very suspicious.
That's right. Last time ended up pretty bad. I've got to be at least that careful. I don't plan on getting tricked twice. Gretel laughed in a truly pleased way, which was humiliating only to Battler.
People don't just get tricked out of the blue. That only happens when they fail to check things for themselves and leave it to other people. Saying that you thought the light had turned green just because you saw other people start crossing doesn't count as an excuse for getting into an accident. Get it?
Yeah, I get it. You're telling me not to swallow information given to me by others, but to think for myself. In the past, I swallowed all the magic Beato showed me. I stopped thinking. So I was useless. Battler grimaced as he remembered his many painful losses. The witch watched and laughed again, putting on a bold appearance.
I'll offer you advice in a way that works to your advantage. Of course, you shouldn't swallow everything I say, because no one can provide certain proof that I am your ally.
Yeah. In the last game, Virgilia, who I thought was an ally, was actually on the witch's side. Whatever happened to her, actually? Battler couldn't rid his head of that eerie smile worn by Virgilia, a person he'd once even thought of as trustworthy and reliable.
So I don't need you to unconditionally trust me. You might as well take my advice as nothing more than an opinion to be considered. After all, the player who's fighting in a game against the witch is you.
That's right. Saying I lost because I followed the moves of an outsider would be just too pathetic of an excuse.
Oh yes, my opponent is Battler. You are nothing more than an outsider. You should bear that in mind. No, I'm not an outsider. With Beatrice and Ushiromiyas Battler, and I, who gaze down from above, it's almost like a fight in the shape of a triangle. At a glance, it might not look like a united front, but having a united front doesn't necessarily mean fighting together. Oh, what an odd thing to say. Just now, he described fighting with you as closing the distance. But you can't measure distance with a single eye. Only with two eyes are things visible in 3 dimensions, and only then can distance be judged. And even when you have 2 fields of vision, it's pointless if they're in the same place. You can pin down witches more accurately when they're far apart.
Shooting from different positions and different angles. So basically, it's crossfire. Interesting.
We're shooting from different positions and different angles, so I won't get along with anybody. That's how I'll keep my own position separate and catch the witch in a pincer attack.
Are you okay with this, Battler? This girl may actually be an ambush I set up, right? She might just be saying something plausible to gain your trust, right? Maybe. She's been saying that over and over again herself, so of course I can't blindly accept her advice. But as to whether she's worthy of trust or not, I can think for myself and make a decision. As long as I don't stop thinking for myself, I won't be tricked by anyone again. What confidence, Ushiromiyas Battler! After you've said so much, it makes me want to trick you all over again, you see? I can't wait to see what kind of face you'll make when you realize you've been duped once more. How pleasant! Looks like you know my name, but I don't know yours. Tell me. For a while, the girl remained silent, without changing her expression even once. She looked as though she couldn't decide whether to say her name or not, or possibly as though she was deciding on the name she'd say on the spot.
Gretel.
Gretel, okay. Ghetto? You are?
That's my name, dumbass. Call me Gretel.
Then should I call myself Hansel? Just kidding, I'm Ushiromiyas Battler. Call me Battler.
Nice to meet you. I hate handshakes. Don't take it personally.
Ah, really? Sorry. After all, it isn't certain that you're my ally. And you just told me to keep my guard up, too. Battler drew back his right hand, which he had stuck out. His bitter smile disappeared and was replaced with a strong resolve directed at this new 4th game.
Battler, think deeply about why you must win against this witch. You can't stop with something abstract, like I'll beat her because I don't like it. Have a deep conviction that you'll definitely defeat the witch and escape from this world. Because there is definitely someone waiting for you to come back. For that kid's sake as well.
Maybe there was something she wanted to say. Gretel clenched her fists in front of her chest and hung her head in silence, at a loss for words for a short while. Oh shit. What do you want, Beatrice? As though smashing through that silence, Beato spoke up in a forceful voice. Good, that should be enough of an introduction for Gretel or whoever. Come, try to remember what happened on October 4th. Let the curtain open on the 4th game. At the same time, as though it had been blown by a sudden gust of wind, the clock that had been turned back to October 4th, 1986 started to move. Whoosh, oh boy. Big womp, let's go. While we remained in the witch's tea room, the blue-gray sea and the green Rokanjima spread out beneath us. And we could see a boat heading there, its wake trailing behind it. The sky was already cloudy, and it seemed that the barrier of the typhoon would soon shut the island away. Hello, Goda. There was the boat docked in the harbor, and Goda helping to unload it. Then, once all of its passengers had disembarked, the boat began to separate from the shoreline. The relatives were gradually swallowed up by the island.
Looks like you're as cheery as ever, Maria. Maria, you'll trip if you aren't careful. Look out. Oh, gonna fall, sink.
The long-missed cousins I had loved dashed across the beach, getting swallowed by the forest path that led to the mansion and disappeared. And of course, brother could be seen among them too, so I guess this is Ange talking. Damn it! Stop right there, Maria, you nimble little brat! I fucked up my voice really bad there. Maria, whom I loved, started dashing, and brother chased after her. Oh yeah, Maria's technically older than her. They were swallowed up by the forest. Following them, father and mother were also swallowed up. And then, those three, yeah. The rest of the parents were swallowed up. They were swallowed up, leaving only me behind. Dumbass. How long are you gonna joke around and play with a witch in a place like this? Come back quickly, brother. Don't leave me all alone. And realize how cruel and lonely the world I'm isolated in is. Oh, achievement unlocked. Welcome to Rokanjima, the island you all know and love. Nice. We are back in Rokanjima. Dudes. Oh, Ange's future, St. Lucia Academy after 1986. Why does St. Lucia Academy sound so familiar? Is that a real school? I've probably heard of it before. Well, I've seen the anime, so I've probably heard that a couple times. Good day to you. Good day to you. Good day to you is the standard greeting used here. No matter how many years pass by, this style of greeting still feels very awkward. Even though I'd responded to the greeting in order to stifle that awkward feeling, the classmate who had spoken looked at me blankly.
Huh? Huh? What's that? It seems you're mistaken.
Their choice of words and manner were certainly what you'd expect from a school for rich girls. But the actual meaning was as innocent and cruel as you'd expect from kids of that age. It seems they found it funny that I mistakenly thought the greeting was directed at me. Oh, so great, so she goes to like one of those Goki Genyo type schools, isn't that fun? No, it might be the opposite. Maybe they didn't know how to react after being suddenly greeted by a gloomy, quiet kid like me. No, judging by the gazes of my classmates, who were looking this way over their shoulders and whispering to each other, it looked as though some of them considered this refreshing morning ruined. I was dark, because I was disliked. So trying not to get in the way of everyone's refreshing morning anymore, I stooped lower and entered the classroom. Almost like I was cutting through the aisle in a movie theater while the movie was running. This is an all-dorm school, St. Lucia Academy. It's not a school that anyone can get into by taking a test. It's a hidden rich girls' school, known of only by a select group of celebrities from various fields. For lofty nobles who truly wish their daughters could be raised like saints, this is probably the ideal school in which to protect them from the impurities of the common world. But at the same time, it was probably also convenient for nobles who wanted to confine daughters they didn't want out in public. As well as an academy isolated from the impurities of the common world, it also held excellent potential as a prison school. What type of prison school are we talking about? I was truly among the latter and was confined in St. Lucia Academy, forced to live my life in dreariness. Of course, there weren't that many students like me, and you couldn't tell us apart at a glance. However, even if we never fessed up about it, you could usually figure out who we were by watching how we acted. After all, we were always hanging our heads, with an expression on our faces as though the whole world had abandoned us. Anyway, every class had one or two kids like that, so even if they didn't speak up about it, you could guess who they were. Therefore, even though I never confessed that I was one of those kids, at some point everyone in my class knew about it. Just like how the seriousness of an injury becomes a sign of status in a hospital room, how noble a birth one had become of a sign... Wait, what? Just like how the seriousness of an injury becomes a sign of status in a hospital room, how noble a birth one had became a sign of status here. Okay. Those girls who couldn't be acknowledged in public were probably nothing more than filth to the others. They must have thought that getting involved with such students would dirty them as well. When a rumor sprang up about a particular student, those fastidious girls would grow cold and distant, chasing that student out of all social groups, so that's why she's an outcast, okay. Thanks to that, I led a quiet school life like this, all by myself. Well, that's only if hearing people whisper behind my back, finding my things lost or broken all the time, and having everyone pretend like they didn't know anything, can be called a quiet school life. Even this early in the morning, I must look worn out. I can almost understand why my other classmates, who had a refreshing morning, looked at my face and wanted to click their tongues. Consciously trying to do as I should and avoid tainting my classmates' morning, I quietly took my seat. Then, unusually, someone came to talk to me. It was the class leader.
Good day to you, Ushiromiya. Look, you seem to be in a bad mood this morning. Were you able to get enough sleep? Is there some business you have with me? You're the only one who has not submitted her questionnaire for the class presentation, Ushiromiyas. Did you forget that the deadline was yesterday?
I'm pretty sure I heard something about that last week, but I'd thought that the questionnaire hadn't been passed out yet. The details would be written there, so there shouldn't have been any need to remember them beforehand.
I wasn't given a questionnaire. That can't be. I believe the dormitory leader handed them out to everyone. If you lost it, all you have to do is honestly say so. I lost it. I'll fill it in right now, so could you give me a sheet?
Again, either someone lost my sheet or they intentionally didn't tell me about it. But I have no way of knowing who was behind that. In the end, treating it as though it was my own carelessness would settle everything more quickly.
Once you filled it out, drop it in the questionnaire box in the student council room yourself. Our class is the only one that didn't get everyone's in by yesterday.
As I hung my head at the class leader's scolding, I could hear the giggles and whispers of people watching, coming from no direction in particular. Ushiromiya did it again. She's just so careless. She doesn't deserve to be in the school. She has no dignity and no manners either. God, this seems like a very toxic place. Sorry, girls, but I've dealt with much worse when it comes to unfair personal attacks. Tag me next time, damn it! As I froze my heart and let those arrows of ridicule pass by, I quickly filled out the questionnaire. Oh, a Grey Womp. When I learned that father and mother and brother and all the rest of my family had died, I was at the house of my grandpa on my mother's side. The only survivor of the accident was Ushiromiya Eva. Only Aunt Eva. Even at the time, I hadn't really liked Aunt Eva. At a glance, she would act kindly. But even as young as I was, I could see that she was somehow making fun of father and the rest, and I hadn't liked it. So when it was decided that Aunt Eva would take care of me, I was pretty miserable. Maybe it wouldn't have mattered if that gentle Uncle Hideyoshi and George had been with me, but I hated the thought of living all alone with Aunt Eva. I'd frankly said that to Grandpa, hoping to live together in his house. However, Aunt Eva had been very insistent that she should be the one to look after me. She had no desire to remarry, so as her successor, I was essential if the Ushiromiyas family was to continue. Aunt Eva felt very strongly about the family. She insisted that she take charge of me right away, so that she could give me an education and lifestyle fitting for a successor. After that, it seemed that confusing negotiations with lawyers took place. But in the end, I was forced to go live with Aunt Eva. After doing that, Aunt Eva told me something. You must bear all of the glory and history of the Ushiromiyas family. And in order to make you a fitting successor to bear that, the rest of your life will be dedicated to frantic studying. Sacrifice the rest of your life for the Ushiromiyas family. That's what she said. At first I thought she meant that literally, but I quickly realized that wasn't the case. Because even now, in Aunt Eva's eyes, the one most fitting to succeed her was the late George. At our first meal together, I received strict instructions and questioning about table manners, and was forced to listen to her abuse Mom and Dad as though they'd been neglectful in their discipline. I also received the same strict instructions regarding manners at my first party, and my clumsiness had been disparaged in front of everybody, forcing me to endure insults to Mom and Dad as well. After that repeated over and over, I eventually began to understand. Aunt Eva didn't really want to make me her successor. She thought George was the only one truly suited to be her successor, and she couldn't forgive the fact that it was to be me instead. So she insulted me in front of lots of people. She humiliated me, and she made it known exactly how I was inferior to George, to both acquaintances and strangers. Surely in place of a memorial service for her dead son. Or rather, she must still be mourning his death. However, that wasn't something I could endure. I couldn't possibly live together with Aunt Eva. I was kept like a pet, my life continually compared with her dead son's. I understood that, even when I was still in elementary school. I tried to escape the Ushiromiyas house and run off to the house of my grandpa on my mother's side. However, Aunt Eva had already foreseen that. No, thinking back on it, she might have lured me into escaping. I was caught by the guards and brought back, and for being a coward who had smeared the Ushiromiyas family crest with mud and tried to throw it away, in a way that makes my whole body shake and shiver just remembering it, I was punished. How should I describe what Aunt Eva was like when she punished me? In a frenzy? Gleeful? I saw the anger and sadness of losing her beloved son, and as well as the hatred and pain for me stealing that inheritance from the son who should have received it. And the dark pleasure at being able to let those feelings out on me. I was hit with all of those negative emotions at once. That certainly isn't a good thing. Then all of my free time and freedom to act was stolen, and I was put under surveillance around the clock. I may have lived in a gorgeous mansion dressed in expensive clothes, but my heart and my dignity had been trampled upon, and I was the Ushiromiyas family's slave, its cattle. Compared to that lifestyle, the derisive laughter of my classmates here was calm and pleasant. It caused my heart no trouble. After burying almost all of the fields of the questionnaire with nothing in particular, I folded it and put it in my pocket. Because if I left it in my desk, it might disappear again. During lunch break, after dropping it off at the post box in the student council room, I finished lunch by myself, as usual, and headed behind the school building where no one could be seen. Only my time by myself could protect me from the derisive laughter and gossip. Since I was hated and didn't have a single friend, my time alone was the most kind to me. After checking the surrounding bushes to see whether some malicious classmates were hiding and threatening my time of quiet, I finally relaxed the tension from my entire body, knowing that I had gained some true peace. Then I let out a sigh. It faltered, heavy, as though it was the first time I had breathed out today. My old favorite place behind the vegetable garden storehouse had been found out by my classmates, and I'd been teased, so this was my new lunchtime hideaway. There was nowhere to sit behind the school building. As I crouched near the wall in the shadow of the bushes, I opened my bag and took out a book with an elaborate old-fashioned binding. Oh. Just glancing at it, you'd probably think it was a religious book or something written in the Middle Ages. But this wasn't a book. It was a diary. Of course, it wasn't my diary. There weren't any special things worth writing about in my daily life. Every single day was just gray, cold, and dry. In those completely unchanging days, there aren't any changes worth writing down. It was the diary of Maria, a girl I'd been very close to. Oh! How'd she get her hands on that? She'd been a bit strange and 3 years older than me. But Maria was always a warm, wonderful cousin. She'd always grab me by the hand and let me join in on some fun game. I remember that being able to see her was the most fun part of our family gatherings. When I opened the diary, the characters, which were made fairly skillfully considering that this was an elementary schooler, were packed close together, though they were written on every other line. Was she just hopelessly obsessed with jotting everything down in her diary? Probably not. To her, writing her daily life down in a diary was probably like having a conversation with another part of herself. So rather than an object on which the events of her day were written down, Maria's diary was written like a letter to another part of herself, telling of the events of that day. I found this diary among her belongings after her death and secretly took it home. At first, I'd felt that reading someone else's diary might be boorish, and satisfied myself with just keeping it by my side. but I couldn't help flipping through the pages and reading it through bit by bit. And by now, she had become my only friend. Really? You're friends with a dead chick? Okay. Well, not even chick, just like chick lit. I gently opened to the page with the bookmark.
Sorry to keep you waiting, Maria. Could you let me hear your story again?
At the same time, a very, very soft breeze blew, tickling the paper. I thought the open diary might have sparkled faintly. The weather's good today. Maria loves the wonderful rays of sunlight, so I'm sure she's in a good mood. On the pages of the open diary, no, in the world of the diary, Maria showed herself. Literally, what the fuck? I'm pretty sure she was 9 when she died, so her form was already younger than me. But I call her One-chan, so she affectionately calls me Ange.
Ew. Angie, you were slow getting here today. Was it packed at lunch? Yes, it's always packed. Groups of friends set up camp in seats, and they stay there even after they finished eating. It's pretty fatal if you get to the dining hall late. I was on cleanup duty today. Ew, I eat fast. The faster you eat, the more you can play. Ew.
Maybe she realized I was holding a grudge because that duty had been forced upon me and shortened by my lunch break a bit. Maria brightly changed the subject. Grateful for that act of kindness, I responded by saying I was a slow eater. Maria calmed me down, saying something about teaching me the trick to eating fast. I read about it in her diary. No, I heard it from Maria. She was ranked number 1 among the girls in the speed eating ranking for her grade's newspaper. What? They have speed eating contests? She was apparently very proud of that, but a little disappointed that her mother, Aunt Rosa, hadn't praised her very much for it.
Then let's start our story for today. How far did we get yesterday? This far. Until you got Sakutaro as a present, Maria.
Sakutaro? Huh?
You promised that you'd tell me about Sakutaro. Let's talk about Sakutaro. You know, Sakutaro is a really cute stuffed animal.
Oh, okay.
I'm sure you'd like him too, Angie. Yeah, tell me that story. The only time I can relax at school is when I'm listening to your stories during lunch break. Yeah, I'll tell you about it. Sakutaro was really,
When I looked at Maria, who was always in a good mood, it made my heart feel warm as well. As I listened to her tale, I began to get absorbed into her world. Okay... Music. Oh! Oh, an actual flashback. You know what, we're near an hour and I feel a little, like, my tongue feels weird. I don't know, I guess I just fell asleep from so much talking, so... Yeah, sorry this was kind of a boring episode in terms of my jokes, it was just really me reading, but hey, if you liked the story anyways, you probably didn't mind. But yeah, that's gonna be it for this episode, guys. If you liked it, be sure to press the like button, and if you didn't like it, fuck you too. Remember to subscribe, follow me on Twitter, and hit that notification bell to stay up to date on all my videos and stuff. And as always, my name is Godzi, and I'll see you all next time. Goodbye!